Well, hi. I wanted to share a couple of little tips that I have come up with to help my workflow. A few things that are helpful, especially working from home. If you find your environment is not quite like the office that you're used to working in, a couple of things that I've discovered that are pretty handy. So, one, it's really hard when you're writing music or even just trying to have an idea about something. When you're sitting there thinking and you have the normal hubbub and commotion of your house in the background, especially if you're trying to have a musical idea and the TV's on and it's in a different key and there's conversations around you. And so a little bit of white noise is actually kind of helpful. And so I just brought in a few seconds of stock white noise from YouTube or somewhere. Sounds like this. It's really nice. The problem is, as soon as you start playing music from somewhere, like iTunes or Spotify or wherever you're working, you've still got white noise, and now you're having trouble hearing the music that you're really trying to listen to. And so you want that white noise to go away when you're listening to music and then come back when you're not. And it occurred to me that's exactly what a sidechain compressor would be really useful for. So here's what I've done, and it's actually really helped me a lot. So I've got Ableton open, which I typically don't work in. I'm in Pro Tools or iTunes or Spotify because I'm transcribing something or I'm working from some sort of source material or a session that's already been done. So I'll just set the output of my computer to Soundflower, which, if you're not familiar with Soundflower, it's a free download, and it creates basically a virtual input and output just on your computer. So between applications, it's inter-application audio path. So I've set the output of my computer to Soundflower so that anything I play from iTunes, Spotify, it goes to Soundflower. And then I've set the input of my Ableton to, this is a workaround because I'm trying to record at the same time here, but I would set the input to Soundflower. Okay, so now I can arm a track here, this audio track, Soundflower input. I can arm that to the Soundflower input and actually monitor what I'm listening to through Ableton instead of directly to my headphones. Okay? The other thing that I've done is I've put a compressor, actually 4 compressors, on this white noise channel because I want to compress that white noise, but only when I'm listening to music. So what I need this compressor to do is actually compress when it gets signal from anything that's coming down this Soundflower channel, right? So I'm actually sending through return B, I'm sending full volume my Soundflower, okay, which is if you look here, is the input for my compressor. So anytime it gets signal from Soundflower, it's going to compress white noise. If you know how to use a sidechain compressor, then all of this makes sense to you immediately. And then I just basically have 4 of them to completely annihilate that white noise. So it doesn't just kind of go away, it like really, really goes away. And it doesn't start creeping in during soft sections of music. It like really stays away. So white noise, really nice. But as soon as I play something in iTunes, okay, the white noise goes away. Okay, and then I stop it. Oh, hold on. I'll tell you about that in a second. So I stop iTunes. More white noise so I can think, right? I've got space to think now. Just the music. Just the white noise. Okay. Wow, I'm going to go ahead and stop that. So that's my first tip, is get yourself some white noise. And if you really want to spend a few minutes setting it up, it's been worth it for me. Sidechain that so that it works for you and not against you. Now, here's the thing that's also been really handy is when you're working in Finale, as I do a lot, I want to stay in Finale. I don't want to be switching between iTunes and Finale, but I often am. And if you're transcribing or just working in one part of the song quite a bit, you're constantly just kind of dialing it back a few seconds, and you have to do that with the mouse, right? You have to come up here, and you've got it. Oh, I hope I'm clicking in the right spot, right? Okay, well, there's a better way. So if you are using shortcuts of any kind, as I have been for a few years now, you might be familiar with these two programs, Quick Keys and Keyboard Maestro. I'm sad to say I have built a ton of shortcuts in Quick Keys, and it's no longer compatible with the new OS. So not 64-bit approved. So I converted, painfully, all of my Finale shortcuts to Keyboard Maestro, and I love it. Great program. Quick little plug for Finale. There are so many things that you can set macros for that save so much time, and I've seen guys who have 10 times as many, and they really use them all. So this is extremely helpful. But I actually created these macros to control iTunes, and the great thing about it is it's done with just keystrokes, like this play stop command. It's just done with control space, and it's in any application, Finale or anything. So it does it in the background. It doesn't even switch to iTunes to do it. It stays hidden and just controls iTunes in the background. I don't know how to write AppleScript, honestly. I found this on the internet. It's a really simple one, but it makes sense as I'm looking at it. It's tell music to play pause, okay? Then I've got one for previous track, which is, another combination here that's just easy to remember. Next track, and then the biggest one, back 5 seconds and forward 5 seconds, which is just telling the position to equal +5 or -5, wherever it is. So right here, just with a few keystrokes, control, left and right arrows, I'm navigating iTunes, and it's staying in the background. So for example, I'm working and I've got the music going, and I want to skip back just with my hands. A few skips back. Really helpful when you are trying to transcribe a particular phrase, because 5 seconds is a pretty good catch for most things that you are working on, okay? And then I thought, I'm in Spotify a fair bit too. I wonder if these same commands work in Spotify, and you know what? They do. The only thing I had to tweak, and really it's the same AppleScript, the only thing I tweaked is with Spotify I had to change backtrack to previous track for some reason. But I wanted to be able to use the same controls and not have to learn another set of navigation. So I put those macros in groups, an iTunes group and a Spotify group, and I only have one of them enabled at any given time, right? Otherwise I'd be controlling both of them, or I don't know what it would do, but it wouldn't work. So to actually switch between the two, I have a macro for that too. So let me come up here. Okay, I've got this this is called Fat Finger, which is Control Option Command F16. I'm unlikely to need that for any other use. That actually enables the iTunes group and disables the Spotify group, and then it tells me. It just tells me what it's doing, and you'll see it happen here. So I'll enable iTunes. Perfect. If I hit F17, activate Spotify. So now whatever's in Spotify over here, let's find it. Okay. Oh, it's a wedding playlist. Let's get back. All here, just on the keyboard, right? And if I'm in iTunes, just switch back to iTunes, and now I'm back in iTunes. I can't say that I use both at the same time, back and forth quite a bit, but at least it's fast switching between the two. So check out Keyboard Maestro. Just get in there and start creating really simple macros that do very simple things, and you'll discover so many things that you can do that you had not even thought about automating, and you'll wonder how you lived before shortcuts on your computer, especially if you're in Finale, because I gotta be honest, there just are not near enough shortcuts built into that program. There's so many things take way too long. So check out Keyboard Maestro. And then if you're savvy and want to enhance your creative space, get you some white noise from YouTube, put a sidechained compressor on it, and take back your brain space a little bit. Happy quarantining.